Stories and songs about John Henry have been around since the 1870s. He became famous as the steel driver who hammered faster than a machine. Did John Henry exist? No one knows for sure. But like Paul Bunyan, he stands for the deeds of many others.
John Henry races the steam drill. Retold by Paul Robert Walker. The Big Bend Tunnel was the longest tunnel in America, 1.25 miles through the heart of the West Virginia mountains. The C&O Railroad started building it back around 1870. There was plenty of hard work for everyone, but the steel driving man worked the hardest, and the hardest working steel driving man of them all was John Henry. Now, John Henry was a powerful man, 6 feet tall and 200 pounds of rippling muscle. He swung his 9-pound hammer from sunup to sundown, driving a steel drill into solid rock. Little Bill, the shaker, turned John Henry's drill between hammer blows and pulled it out when the hole was done. When there were enough holes, the demolition boys filled them with nitroglycerin and blew the rock to kingdom come. Then John Henry drove more steel, day after day, in the heat and darkness and stale air of the tunnel. John Henry always sang while he drove the steel, and at the end of every line he brought that 9-pound hammer down like a crash of thunder. This old hammer, bam, rings like silver, bam, shines like gold, boys, bam, shines like gold, bam. Ain't no hammer, bam, in these mountains, bam, rings like mine, boys, bam, rings like mine, bam. One day, Captain Tommy interrupted John Henry in the middle of his song. "John Henry," he said, "the company wants to test one of those new steam drills. They say a steam drill can do the work of 3 or 4 men. But I say a good man can beat the steam, and I say you are the best man I have." John Henry rested his 9-pound hammer on his broad, muscular shoulder. "Captain Tommy," he said, "a man ain't nothing but a man. Before I let that steam drill beat me down, I'll die with my hammer in my hand." "Son," offered Captain Tommy, "if you beat that steam drill, I'll give you $100 and a new suit of clothes." "That's mighty generous," said John Henry. "But don't you worry about that. Just go to town and buy me a 20-pound hammer. This 9-pound maul is feeling light." The news of the contest spread through the camp like a strong wind whipping down the mountain. The company men said John Henry was a poor working fool who didn't stand a chance against that mighty steam drill. Some of the working men thought the same. But the steel driving men knew John Henry, and they believed in the power of a mighty man. That night, John Henry told his wife, Polly Ann, about the contest. "Don't you strain yourself, honey," said Polly Ann. "Course, we could use that $100. And you need a new suit of clothes." John Henry smiled and kissed Polly Ann. "I ain't worried about money or clothes," he said. "Don't you see, sugar? A man ain't nothing but a man, and a man's got to beat the steam." The next morning, the steel drivers crowded into the Big Bend Tunnel. It was hot and dusty, and the air was so foul that a man could hardly breathe. The only light was the flickering of lamps burning lard oil and black-strap molasses. The company man wheeled the steam drill into the tunnel and set it up against the rock. It was nothing but a machine, all shiny and modern and strange. Then John Henry walked in and stood beside it. He was nothing but a man, all black and fine and natural. Captain Tommy handed John Henry a brand new 20-pound hammer. "There ain't another like it in West Virginia," he said. "Good luck, son." John Henry held the hammer in his hand and felt its fine, natural weight. In the flickering light of the tunnel, the head of that hammer shone like gold. "Gonna call this hammer Polly Ann," he said. Little Bill sat on the rock, holding the 6-foot drill in his hands. John Henry towered above the steel, just waiting to begin. It was so quiet in that tunnel, you could hear the soft breathing of the steel-driving men. Captain Tommy blew his whistle. The company man turned on the steam drill. John Henry swung his 20-pound hammer back and brought it down with a crash like thunder. As he swung it back again, he began to sing. This old hammer, bam, rings like silver. Bam, shines like gold, boys. Bam, shines like gold. Bam. John Henry kept driving steel, and the steam drill kept drilling. Pretty soon the whole mountain was rumbling and shaking. John Henry's muscles bulged and strained like they never bulged and strained before. Sweat cascaded down his powerful chest, and veins protruded from the sides of his handsome face. "Are you all right, John Henry?" asked Captain Tommy. "Don't you worry," said John Henry. "A man ain't nothing but a man, and a man's got to beat the steam." Then he went on singing. Ain't no hammer, bam, in these mountains, bam, rings like mine, boys, bam, rings like mine, bam. When they hit the end of the 6-foot drill, Little Bill pulled it out and shoved in a longer drill, and then a longer one, and a longer one still. John Henry swung his 20-pound hammer and drove that steel. He swung and drove faster and harder, and faster and harder, until that Polly Ann hammer caught fire. The whole Big Bend tunnel glowed with the blue flame of John Henry's hammer. "Time!" shouted Captain Tommy. "Time!" cried the company man, shutting off the steam drill. "Time!" gasped John Henry, leaning on his hammer. "I need a cool drink of water." While John Henry drank his water, Captain Tommy and the company man measured the holes. The steam drill had done 9 feet. John Henry had drilled 14. "John Henry!" shouted the steel drivers. "John Henry beat the steam." "Congratulations, son," said Captain Tommy, slapping him on the back. "I don't care what you say. I'm going to give you $100 and a new suit of clothes." John Henry leaned heavily on his hammer and sucked in the stale air of the tunnel. "That's mighty generous, Captain Tommy. But you give that $100 to Polly Ann, and you bury me in that suit of clothes." Then he slumped to the ground, clutching his hammer in his hand. "I beat the steam," he gasped, "but I broke inside." As his eyes closed, John Henry lay back against the black earth and whispered, "A man ain't nothing but a man."